Lace 'em up, let's start the show. We're digging in with Trip. 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 We're digging in with Trip today, yeah.
Well, standing outside of PNC, homage to Carolina's current superstar, Sebastian Aho, who hails from Oulu in northern Finland, the same city that produced two former very successful and impactful Hurricanes, Joni Pitkanen and the guy we're about to dig in with, Jussi the Juice Jokinen. You can't help but ask yourself, had it not been for the success of Jussi and Joni, would the Hurricanes organization have the familiarity and focus on trying to locate future stars from Oulu in northern Finland? I would surmise and conclude, no. That's how important Jussi and Joni were, and still are, to the Carolina Hurricanes organization. We're about to dig in with the Juice, and boy, it's fitting that our presenting sponsor, Voodoo Ranger, has just put out a juice first, fruit-tinged spin-off of Top Gun, a new IPA. It's as bold as ever. Everything that Voodoo Ranger produces is extremely bold, so check that out. Thank you, as always, to our presenting sponsor, Voodoo Ranger. A reminder to check out the digintrip.com merchandise line, including a line that has the colors of Carpet, the Northern Finland team that has produced all three of the players that I've just mentioned, and 100% of any merchandise from the Carpet line goes to Oulu All-Stars that was begun by Jussi Jokinen, Pekarine, and has been carried on in inspirational fashion, changing kids' lives by Sebastian Aho. He is on the board with Jussi on the Oulu All-Stars. Please rate and review our show on all audio platforms as well as YouTube. We can take honesty. We just want to grow and satisfy you. Without further ado, let's dig in with the Juice. Jussi Jokinen. And I never, other than my professional job as your analyst on TV, do I ever call you Jussi? I call you JJ. It's good to see you, JJ.
Great to see you, Trip.
So you're in the United States right now because you came over to attend the jersey retirement of your dear friend Pekarine. Hails from Oulu, like you, like Sebastian Aho, Joni Pitkanen, just to name a few. That was a couple nights ago in Nashville. What was that like?
It was a great week. There was tons of people from Finland and Pekka's family and his close friends, and still probably either 50 more Finns was there. And it was a great whole week, just myself to talk to more of these local people and understand how much they appreciate Pekka and what he's done for that city and how great of role model he has been. Obviously been an unbelievable hockey player, but it was great to be there when that happened, and everything was first class, and it was great to be there.
When was the first time in your life you met Pekarine?
He's 1 year older. We probably played against each other when we were kids too, like 10, 11, 12 years old. But then I'm from a little small city called Kalajoki. It's like 100 miles away from Oulu. I moved there when I was 15, and then we started to play same team when Pekka was really late bloomer, so we started to play same team when we both were like 17, 18, and then we played 4 years as a pro in Finland, and then we both actually left same time to NHL 2005.
What made him one of the great goalies in the history of the game?
I think it was his work ethic, how competitive he was. He wanted to save every shot at the practice, whether it was morning skate or game 6 on the Stanley Cup Finals. That's how hard he worked, his work ethic, and I think that was his thing.
A bunch of guys, a bunch of great Finns were over for the week in Smashville. What was maybe behind the scenes or biggest takeaway about the most special moment?
I really liked Tuesday night. We had a dinner. It was Pekka's family and probably 10, 15 his closest friends, and there was some speeches there, and I think there he got really emotional, and lots of other people got really emotional. So I was surprised to me and everybody else how great of speech he had at that real jersey retirement night, and maybe it was easier to talk to like 20,000 people than just 30 people at the dinner. But I really liked that dinner we had, and it was really like small dinner with all the important people he had, and obviously Thursday night when the jersey went up was unbelievable as well.
That's cool. So what are you doing? Well, this comes from your agent, Todd Diamond, who is outstanding, and for Dig In viewers and listeners, Todd Diamond's a partner of Mark Gandler. They're a great tandem. Usually Todd handles the Finns and Mark handles the Russians. For instance, Hurricanes fans, they represent Andrei Svechnikov, Alexander Barkov, with Florida, just to name a few. And Todd was a great agent. Todd asked me to ask you, Jussi had his preparation as a player right down to the minute. What is he doing with his time now?
That's a good question. Like Todd say, like you say, like I had so many routines. It was great to see when I retired. I got a video from Sidney Crosby, and he said he had, like everybody knows, he's so superstitious, and he told me that he's played with tons of players, and there's not many who is there with him, how superstitious he is, and he said I'm right there with him, and that's that's true. So it's been a little bit learning experience. You don't have any routine. You can decide your own schedule and stuff like that. But I think the biggest thing, I have a 10-year-old daughter and 8-year-old son. So just as a hockey players, we travel so much, and it's been so nice to be home with them. And obviously, I talk about lots of retired players that they have any tips, and I think lots of say that just first year try to do anything, just lay back and see what you really want to start doing. And so I've been just trying to say no to everything, and I've been pretty successful so far.
You've done some outstanding work as a broadcaster on Finnish television. As Todd Diamond, your fabulous agent, says, Tripp, you better watch out for your job. JJ's on the loose. Walk me through a couple of the most notable superstitions the day of a game in your career.
There's so many. I think I was just talking with somebody in Nashville when it was that warm-up, but that whole warm-up, it's 16-minute warm-up, and I'm probably there 13 and a half minutes, so it's everything I did, it was same, that 13 and a half minutes, all about same shots to same spots. Obviously, if it was the right-handed goalie, I get my shots, high glove. It was left-handed goalie, other side, and just I think that warm-up is probably doing the same loop, same time, and maybe it wasn't always the best thing to do, but it gave me great career, those superstitions.
Oh, your career speaks for itself. Did you ever miss your shot location, hit a goalie in the head and warm up?
No.
You were an accurate shooter. I don't think you
it wasn't hard shot, but it was accurate. Yeah.
Joni Pitkanen, for all the great huge Caniacs watching and listening, what's he up to right now? He's from Oulu. Boy, the way he played with Dennis Seidenberg in the 2009 run. What's Joni doing?
I think he's doing the same thing than me, just being home with the kids, and our both wives are doctors, so they are working. So we are now just taking care of the kids and driving them around to their hobbies. So.
Yeah, I enjoyed our dinners so much because you and Joni, the way that you knew the league. When you think about it, you've said no to virtually everything. Your hockey IQ is through the stratosphere, JJ, and that's complemented by your work ethic and the fact that you have the respect of everybody in the hockey world. I think you'd be an unbelievable coach or general manager, whether it be in Finland or in the National Hockey League. Are you any closer to what you might do?
Yeah, I think one thing, it's been clear that I want to be somehow involved in hockey. I think taking a step back, just you maybe understand even more how much you love the game and how great of game it is and how much it has given to me and my family. But I think right now the biggest thing, I want to be home. I don't want to be traveling too much. I want to spend time with my kids and kind of be part of their everyday life. But like you say, coaching, being on the management, I think that's what intrigues me, and that's probably on the long run where I want to be. But whether it's after 3 years, 5 years, whether it's going to be here or Finland, we'll have to see.
Your English is always as eloquent and strong. I'd expect that from you, but I mean, truthfully, how much English have you been speaking?
Not actually. I was a little worried when I come in this house, my English, but it was good to spend this week in Nashville and talk English a bit more, so it's not as bad as it could be.
No, it's strong. Hey, listen, we're digging in. You don't have to have a good memory when you tell the truth, as Mark Twain said. I'd tell you if it was rusty. It ain't rusty. All right. I want to get to your storied Hurricane career. What a career, just under 1,000 games. But I've mentioned this on television on numerous occasions about Sebastian Aho. Drafted in the second round on a pick in 2015. And you were still playing in the league at that point. And you called me and you said, TT, this, and I love the way I was joking with him, I love the way you say it, this Sebastian, he is gonna be great. That is right after he got drafted. Why? Pretty prophetic. Why did you feel that way?
I think just practicing with that team, Kärpät Oulu, every summer and getting to know all these young players when they are going there and playing a few years, and then obviously few has come to the league. But I think there was still that something in Sebastian, like how his work ethic, how mature he was at a young age, and he knew what it takes to be better. Like I've been following him since he was like 15, and every time he took a one step higher league, he always was able to adapt. Like everybody was worried about his size, but I think I could tell which way that league was going. It was going to be even quicker league. You need to be a great skater. You don't need to be that big anymore. And I think just how he was able to adapt every time going to the next level. I know he's going to be a star, and his work ethic, he's going to get stronger and better. And it's been cool to see these Finns coming to this organization. Just this organization has a special place to my heart. My daughter was born here, and we really enjoyed living here and playing here and going through that Stanley Cup run. It's just special to see other Finnish players, other players from Kärpät Oulu get drafted here and playing their best here and being faces of the franchise here now.
You got me getting nostalgic. That 2009 run. You were in Marty Brodeur's kitchen. Not many people did that. I mean, the buzzer beating goal en route to beating the Devils in that series. You set up Joni for the huge tying goal and the shock of the Rock in Game 7. You don't have to just pick one, or if you want to pick one, what was the most special part or parts of that run?
Yeah, I think that whole run was special. It was so great to see those fans. Like you get lots of players say that, and that's, I still think, the best way to describe it. It's just shaking. That building is shaking when you score these big goals and the last minute of the game and everybody's standing and waving their towels, and when you score that big goal, that you feel that shaking in the building. It's just an unbelievable feeling. And actually, I told that to Sebastian. Like there were some obviously tough years before Hurricanes started to make the playoffs again and being great. And before they make the first playoff, I told Sebastian that PNC Arena, that's gonna be the best arena you're gonna play in the playoffs. It's gonna be loudest. He was, are you serious? Like there's gonna be other. I'm like, just watch it. And then after the first playoff run was over, he called me. You were right. It's the loudest building. And I think just there was so many. I was scoring an overtime goal in playoffs. That's what everybody is dreaming, playing street hockey, that it's overtime in the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's tough to beat that. scoring against Tim Thomas on that rebound and getting 2-1 lead on that series and then going to win that series. So if I have to pick one, I gotta pick that overtime goal.
Hang on here. God, I shouldn't even say this because it's my job, and usually I pride myself on having an elephant memory. Sergei Samsonov I talk to all the time, that overtime winner. You two were terrific. Who was the third? Who else was on your line?
Tuomo Rudy.
Oh, Rudy. Oh, my God, he's going to kill me. Rudy, baby. Yeah. And Rudy, baby, why did I think he was floating around playing with Eric Stahl a little bit, too?
Yeah, he was. Like, we were changing lines a little bit, but there was a few games, especially on that series, we played together.
Yeah, that was so... Because the way that series against Boston shifted. Yeah, and I think, too, I mean, the players have to play the game. But Paul Maurice, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I know you were as fond of him as a coach as any coach you had in your career. And I remember in those games when Boston was here, that he got Eric Stahl away from Zdeno Chara. He took advantage of last change, and you talked about the building shaking. I mean, you don't win that game 3 in overtime. And for Sergei Samsonov, the former Boston Bruin Rookie of the Year, to factor in, you're bringing back some spectacular memories.
Yeah, it was unbelievable series. Then ending it, Scotty Walker doing the overtime goal, his wife going through what she went through on that spring. So it was a great story. It's so happy I was able to be part of it.
What, knowing what Julie Walker was going through and she's healthy, can you paint a picture after he scored in overtime, what the locker room was like? I'm sure you were exhausted, but after Game 7 in Boston with the emotion and knowing, that Scotty's scoring the goal of what he had persevered through in that series.
Yeah, it was just meant to be. I think there wasn't lots of teary eyes there in the locker room, how much it meant to Scotty to score and how happy we were for Scotty. Like he was a great teammate, playing lots of times in the fourth line and a little bit like smaller roles. But then I think in that game he was in the first line with Stalsi and Ray, and just getting that rebound and finding a way to score a goal. It was a great feeling, and everybody were so happy to him. And I think just one more memory came back to me. Like that was, I think, special coming back from these. We had Game 7 in New Jersey, Game 7 in Boston, and when we flew back, it was 2 a.m. and there was so many Hurricane fans on the airport. Like that was so cool to see. Being middle of the playoffs, first round, second round, you come back home and there's hundreds of Hurricanes, 2 a.m. there and waving and singing and shouting. It was pretty nice to go home from the airport.
Priceless and timeless memories. The shock at the Rock. Okay, Wardo. Cam Ward, he's got the right number for the name of his wine. Have you had Vineyard 36?
Actually, I haven't. Cam, you gotta.
We're gonna have to reach out to him today.
Send a couple bottles.
Yeah. Well, and so his partner in that, who you must have saw Gleese. You saw Gleese in the locker room. Well, how well he played with Joe Corvo. So, Yoni ends up setting you up, okay? But Gleese had kept a puck in the attacking zone. I mean, I've been so privileged, over 23 years, but this goal is truly right there on the Mount Rushmore. I mean, what do you remember about that play? Yoni finding you. You guys always had that ridiculous chemistry, what you do to create breakaways on your power play entry. What do you remember about that?
Yeah, it was unbelievable play. Gleese in that blue line to make that little pass to Yoni. But yeah, I think everybody knew in the 90s and early 2000s, you down against Devils in that building, you're not coming back. But we just had so much confidence to ourselves. We played good series. And obviously, I remember that game being a little bit up and down, and they were leading. And it's great. I'm so happy it was about to be that play. Like that's the play we done with Yoni since we were 15 years old. Like that's just he's always getting few steps. He gets away from his forward, goes down that lane, and then obviously everybody's going to the close to the net, and we had a play that I fake, I go, I stop, and there's that lane, and we scored few goals on the juniors when we were 15, 16 years old, and then I think a couple of goals in the like Finnish league in Carpa in that play, and be able to execute that play in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and just that big moment, like it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable pass by him.
Oh, so based on the number of times that you had executed it, the chemistry that you and Joni had, did you even have to communicate there?
No, I think both knew, like I know he's gonna lift his head, and if I can get myself open, that pass is gonna be my tape. It's just to able to get a good shot at it, and it was great pass. And I think I got a little bit lucky on that goal. I tried to shoot it like up top on that like short side high, and it ended up going 5-hole and almost missed the net on the wide side. But you know, I think we deserved that luck on that series. How good we played.
Awesome. Now, did you, after you scored, did you have any intuition, again, the tough building that New Jersey was, that you might win it in regulation like Eric did?
No, I think nobody thought that way. I think everybody was so happy we now even, and probably how that usually happens. We just play the last couple of minutes, go to overtime, and see what happens. But you know, I think how Eric was flying, get that perfect shot. I think that was the shot we were able to beat Marty a few times. That low pucker, and how good Eric is shooting on full skating, and get that good shot there. So yeah, it all changed it in a couple of minutes. It was unbelievable.
You know, it's the guy that got the first goal in Game 7 in Boston was Rod. Rod was playing a reduced role. I mean, want Rod Brindamore, deservingly so, in the Hockey Hall of Fame as a player so badly. But as your captain, you know, playing in the role that he was, what struck you the most about his leadership in that run?
Yeah, I think for me, coming on that trade deadline and kind of during the playoffs, it was me who took his spot, kind of like I was, and just how professional he was and how great he was to me and everybody else. He was just doing his part, like understanding his role, and it's not easy to do. I know by myself being back home, and then last year my role is reducing. That how it's not the easy thing to do, but how great he was, and he was doing all the little things, doing his PK, winning his face-offs, and that goal being in front of the net, screening the goalie, and finding ways to contribute to the team. It was great to see.
Did you think at that point that, with your hockey IQ and your feel for the game, did you think that Rod Brindamore might end up being a coach?
Yeah, I think I didn't know him that long. Like I played him obviously that end of the year, and then next year, then he retired. But I think his love of the game, you could tell how much he loved the game. It was great to still be a player, and he coming to assistant, and how good he understands the game, and still what kind of physical shape he is, and understand that as well. So actually, I remember I didn't kind of think about that much, but obviously looking back now, it was that, of course, that's going to happen.
Did you, Paul Maurice, who was your coach, you know, he's stepped away from the Winnipeg Jets, won Stanley Cup Finals, 3 conference finals, if my memory is correct. What made him a coach that you were so fond of?
I think he just understood the strengths of the players really well. Like I think that was huge for me. Like he understood I'm not the biggest player, I'm not the fastest players, but he always, with me and so many else, that he understands that what kind of other players makes that line maybe click. Obviously you have to think about the whole team and whole the team chemistry and stuff like that. But I think for me that was the biggest thing, and as well how he was able to keep that room like light, like his dry sense of humor and stuff like that, and just how honest he was with his players, like whether it was first line center, your biggest star, or guy who's been scratched, he was same to everybody, and he was able to tell the things straight on your face. It wasn't any games played, and I think that's what make everybody respect him so much.
want to bounce around a little bit. You had an extremely decorated career with Team Finland in international competition and Olympic competition. Most special moments in either of those categories?
Yeah, I think national team was so big to me when I was a kid in the Finland, late 80s, early 90s. There wasn't internet, there wasn't cell phones. It was just, I think Finnish national team was the thing my generation dreamed more than NHL, just playing for your country in the World Championships, playing for your country in the Olympics. Those were the things we dreamed more than playing NHL. I think NHL came a little bit later. We will get more games and to TV and stuff like that. But I think just playing the Olympics, it's once in every 4 years, and making I was in 2 Olympics, 2006 in Turin, Italy, and making the final. And what a great team we had there: Teemu Selänne, Saku Koivu, Kimmo Timonen, Jere Lehtinen, Teppo Numminen, all those guys. And we just played so great the whole tournament. We beat Canada, we beat USA, and played great. And then playing in final against Sweden, our biggest rival in Finland. So it's, if I get one game back, that's the game I want to get back in my career. That we still played okay game, but it wasn't enough. But all that Olympic experience, then 8 years later in Sochi, winning bronze. So I think those Olympic experience, being 2 Olympics, winning 2 medals, those are from my international career, those are the biggest memories.
Remember when you won bronze? How old was Teemu at the time?
Yeah, I think he was 43.
Yeah, 40. Talk about a charismatic. I mean, we know the charisma that he played with, but a charismatic guy. What will you always remember, and your experiences with Teemu Selänne?
Yeah, I think it was good, especially in Finnish hockey. We had a couple serious leaders like Saku Koivu, Mikko Koivu later, and Teemu was just all about having fun and having a smile on his face. Remember going those Olympics, we had some young players, Alexander Barkov, 18 years old, and some other young players, and he just had a speech before the tournament started that it's so rare to be there, and just let's enjoy this playing for our country, but let's do it with a smile on our face. And I think it was just a great, because sometimes in those big game moments you get too tight, or, too worried about if I make a mistake. But I think him being there, it helped us keeping that a little bit lighter mentality, that enjoying the moment, and it was great to be part of there with his last Olympics and getting a medal to all of us on those Olympics.
I remember watching the bronze medal game and how happy I was. Really happy. Barkey, former dig-in, what a player. Now, he's not from Oulu, he's from Tempura. At what point did you think, ooh, this guy's going to be pretty darn good?
Yeah, I think him and Jonathan Huberdeau and Aaron Ekblad were the biggest things. I chose Florida when I was a free agent in 2014, and there was some tough times with the Panthers earlier on, and then going in there and getting to know him better. And I think myself and everybody else knew that pretty quickly this guy is going to be a superstar in this league. And just disappointed my part that I wasn't able to keep it up anymore and play more longer on that organization. And now last couple of years, what kind of powerhouse Florida has game, and Barkov, Huberdeau, Ekblad being the cornerstones on that franchise. So it was great to see those players to grow in their roles, and with Bark especially, I think every year he's gotten better. His work ethic is unbelievable, how hard he works, and it's just so fun to watch him. He's not cheating defensively, and he's doing all the right things, and it's been great to see.
Why do you think? Okay, I can just go over when I had my shot of espresso in the NHL as a Hurricane, shot of espresso with that. Sammy Kapanen was on the team. You move forward to Jussi Jokinen, Tuomo Ruutu. I could talk about the defensemen like Joni Pitkin, but now Sebastian Aho, Teuvo Teravainen. I mean, I'm just scratching the surface. It's rare and I can't think of any Finns off the top of my head. Okay, Line played last night, and I even see him buying in, right now on the defensive side. But why do you think that Finns across the board, because it's been my experience as an analyst for over 2 decades, it's rare that you see them take shortcuts? Why?
I think it's in our mentality. Just I obviously it comes from generations before us too. That you just work hard. You gotta work together, and good things to happen. I think that's how Finnish national team has won some big things and being the medals in the Olympics, and now winning Olympic gold still. A couple of weeks back, just that teamwork. There's a special atmosphere when you go to these international tournaments. We know we don't have the biggest star. Maybe now it's the first time we would have those bigger stars with Barkov, Aho, Rantanen. We could try to play a little bit differently, but still in our blood that we defend really well and that teamwork, and that's how we're gonna win big games. And I think it just comes from generations before us, and that our mentality that we work for each other and just be hard to play against.
You got me laughing right now because I was. I remember a game in Florida years ago, and I was walking up to the booth and I saw what a good guy he is, Jari Kurri. All right, so I said, Kurri, I called him Kurri. We were having a great chat. He's easy to talk to,
yes.
Much like Teemu. And so we had drafted this guy, Victor Rask, and I just assumed, because of Tuukka, I just assumed he was a Finn. And I go, Jari, tell me about this Victor Rask. And he gives me this look, and he goes, I don't know. and then I said, I actually caught myself, and I said, well, he might be a Swede. Goaltenders. Pekka, your dear, dear friend. I mean, we could go through the years. Kiprasov, UC Saros, right? Across the board, Tuukka Rask has just retired. What a sensational career. Why do you think the Finns have produced so many elite goalies?
Yeah, I think sometime, whatever it was, 80s, 90s, we probably weren't having that good goalies. I think sometime at 80s, 90s, it started that we have our own goalie coach, really young age, whether it was, under 12 years old team, they had our own goalie coach, and they really, Finnish Hockey Federation put the money and the teams that every team has their own goalie coach already at a young age. I think that helped develop so many of those good goalies you told me, but actually looking now to NHL, like now we are a little bit dipping, like there was like 20-year part where there was all those great goalies, but I think now every other team has done this, every other country has done the same thing last 10-15 years, and there's so many good goalies coming from all the other countries, so now we have to kind of find a new way of stay on that competition, being able to, hopefully we can keep doing that tradition that we are producing great goalies as well. But I think to having those goalie coaches at the early age is the reason we were having so good luck with the goalies.
It's impossible to stump you. Who's the most underrated Finn in the NHL right now?
That's a tough one.
That's why we're digging in.
I say Roope Hintz. I was watching him in Nashville Thursday, and I think last couple of years he's been point per game player, and he can fly. He's really good all-around player, and I think he's going to be even bigger star in this league.
Roommate of Sebastian Aho in international competition, I think leading up to World Juniors, hence. Speaking of Dallas, Sergei Zubov, who you played with, just had his number retired earlier this year in January. What a player. You played with him for a significant period of time. Maybe speak to what you think about when you think of Sergei Zubov.
Yeah, I think, especially now I'm retired, people are asking about if you could tell All-Star 5 players best players you played with, and Subi's their best defenseman I've ever played. It was as a young player, as a rookie, come to this league, and my first year I played with Mike Modano and Jere Ledin and Sergei Zubov being back there. I got so lucky. It's no better place to come in league and play with those players. But I remember early on, I had this thing that I was open, I was tapping my stick on the ice, and then I think I made to the team, and after a couple of games, Subi came to me that don't ever tap that stick on the ice if you want me to pass the puck. If you open, that's the right play, I'll pass you. I'm like, oh, okay, that stopped my tapping on the ice, and his just hockey sense, his passing ability, like it was unbelievable, and just he was still underrated his defensive side as well, and it was unbelievable to play same team with him and playing on the same power play a couple of years. Just how unbelievable power play player he was.
Every time that we would go to Dallas, after he retired, and his jersey is retired as well, it seems like you would always, I'd say, JJ, what are you doing for dinner? I'm going to see Jere Ledin. I mean, this guy, he's what it's all about. I mean, he was putting together the Finnish Olympic team. I know the team didn't go. But why is Jere Ledin so special?
Yeah, I think it was for me great to come to NHL and the Dallas and learn from him. I was his roommate first year, and like you say, I think he's close to being a perfect hockey player. Just how great he was defensively, and still was able to score 30 goals a year, and just how hard he worked off the ice and took care of his body, and obviously what kind of person he is. He's been a great friend of mine since I went to Dallas, and how he treats other people. It's just, I could go on. It's been great to be his friend and learn from him.
Mike Modano, he's a pure Michigan native like me. Boy, when he would skate. I think you might have, either you or Mike got the shootout winner. The year Carolina won the cup, lost in a shootout. I remember it was a back-to-back in Dallas one night and then in Arizona the next night. I think you both factored in the shootout. But Mike Modano, what do you think about when you think about Mike?
Yeah, he was a superstar, and like all the North American kids and myself, getting those flashes, 90s and early 2000s when his jersey's flopping and he's flying, and being able to play with him in the same line. I really found quick chemistry with him and really enjoyed playing with him. And I've been so lucky to play with these superstars, centers. Modano, played a little bit with Vincent LeCavalier in Tampa, and Stalzi here, Malkin, Barkov. I've been lucky to play so many good centers, but with him, I think we really found great chemistry with each other, and I really enjoyed playing with him. And I was coming to NHL being a rookie, and I like to talk about a lot about the game and doing some stuff on the board that let's try this. I'm sure he's been looking a little bit, who's this rookie coming to tell me what to do, but I think he let me have my talks, and he had a right attitude. It really helped me much what kind of player and person he was.
Did he have some of the same right kind of carefree attitude that you mentioned that about Teemu earlier?
Yeah, for sure. Like now when you say like he has this, you know him really well as well, so he has this, let's just have some fun, let's play and do it, smile on our face. And then there was a couple serious wins, me and Jere on his swings. So, but yeah, it was one of the best lines I played in NHL.
As we start to wrap, because I could go right into into Finnish summer. Speaking of Finnish summer, I appropriately took some heat because you and Pekka, let me know if I'm missing anybody. When I talked to Sebastian, now Sebastian's jumped on board with Oulu All-Stars and the charity that is wonderful in your hometown, the big golf event that I promised to come to, that I've already got a seat reserved on my Finnair bird this summer. I did get a video from you guys saying, you had it all set up for me.
Yeah, we had a car waiting.
Yeah, I know you did. We had a car and all the accoutrements. Can you speak about when you started that, benefiting and changing the lives of young kids where you're from?
Yeah, we started like, I think it was 2015. It's gonna be 7th year now this year. It's just me and Pekka started it, and now Sebastian came on the board a few years ago. We have Markus Nutivaara from Florida Panthers and Jonas Donskoy from Seattle Kraken as well with us now. So it's just, I think we just wanna give back to the community we all from, and I think it's really been special day. There's so many people and companies who wanna do a good, like it's having a good day together and raise some money to the kids that they can do different sports, and it's just a great day, and there's a special atmosphere on that night that everybody just wants to contribute in their own way.
Keep that car running. And one of the guys that comes up from the Helsinki area, what a gamer, Teuvo. You know, I know he's not from the northern parts, but this guy, just like you, JJ, as an analyst, he is a joy to watch. And I mean, a clutch performer. I mean, when you think about Teuvo Teravainen, you were in the building, you saw him score a power play goal last night, thought he was willing to shoot the puck last night. This is a special hockey player.
He is, and just what the chemistry they have with Sebastian, they are a little bit different players, and that's why they are so good together. And just his hockey IQ, his hockey sense, his passing ability, and like you say, he probably a little bit same than me, that everybody would like him to shoot a little bit more because he has a great shot as well. So it's just, like you say, it's just joy to watch.
Because I remember back in those days, Paul Maurice would have me, I haven't skated in years, but he would have me practice every now and then. And you, don't let this go to your head, but you were the guy that I was like, the way it popped off your stick, I would say to myself, I did not know that Jussi shot the puck this hard. I truly remember that about practice, that you were the one guy, that the thing, it popped. And a deceptive release too. So I did make note of that. You know, for over 2 decades, the Hurricanes will celebrate 25 years next season. Why do you think that Carolina has been such a great spot with a storied Finnish history?
I think it has to start with like Sami Kapanen, and I think that's how it goes with some of these franchises like Dallas, Ledin. You have a couple good Finnish players, and then they do the things right way and get a little bit success. Probably the organization starts to know, okay, Finnish people are loyal, they work hard, they do everything they can, and it's all, every time it's team first attitude. It's not like what could I do, it's always all about the team. I think that's been, I would think, big part of it, and like I said earlier, it's just great to follow this franchise now. There's still lots of Finns, and it's become like every year Stanley Cup contender, so hopefully they can get that second cup here soon.
Because you played center and wing. You know, the game's changed. You know, do you think, well, when you played, did you think a winger could drive a line? A. And depending on what your answer is, now with the interchangeable parts systematically, who's the first guy back is essentially the centerman, and you know the guys are, you know, up front are capable of playing in any type of systematic position depending on who is where. Do you think, you mentioned Johnny Huberdeau, what a year he's having in Florida as a winger. Do you think wingers can drive a line more than when you played?
Maybe a little bit. Yeah, obviously there's wingers who are driving their lines, but it's been Panarin a couple of years wherever he's played and stuff like that. So yeah, the game's changed, especially the last, I don't know, 7 to 8 years. The game's just, it's so much quicker. You know, the players can skate even harder than it was 10 years ago, and I still think the center is the toughest position to play. Like especially now, like you gotta drive through, being the first guy going to the net, and being quick, and then still there's some big boys on the wingers. You got to be able to defend them really well on your own zone. I think the game changed like that, like you told, but I still think the center has a really big responsibility.
Is there anything you would change about the game?
I like the game how it is right now. I think NHL it's great hockey. It's just watching lots of Finnish league and international. I think they're thinking to go smaller ice, but I enjoy the smaller ice way more. Like it still has that physical element. I think they've been able to cut out those concussions, head injuries, but the physical element has still stayed. And right now, I think NHL there's lots of goals every night. There's some 8-5 games like the 90s, but still it's entertaining, and I like the game how it is right now.
3-on-3 was a godsend. Would you ever consider, and I don't know where I stand on this, would you ever consider any type of rule where you can't reload, say go to the defensive side of the red line? I love 3-on-3, but
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think on the 3-on-3 you could do that kind of rule that you have to stay in the O zone or you can't go back in the red line just for the overtime. Like that could be a good rule. Yeah, you're right.
That's an interesting topic, I think, worth further conversation. I think I just want to finish, Jussi, you played just about 1,000 games. You were a clutch performer. You were a beloved teammate everywhere you went. But the NHL, it didn't come easy for you. You had to earn it. You had to dig in. So when you think about your journey to the National Hockey League and staying in the National Hockey League, I know you hate talking about yourself, and if you want to talk about the people that support you, what were the key elements of grabbing that shovel and digging in to have the career you had?
Yeah, like you say, I was a 6th-round draft pick, so it wasn't probably predictable that I'm going to play in NHL or playing close to 1,000 games. I think just the timing was right. I was able to, for me, biggest thing, I wasn't ready to come here when I was 18, 19 or even 20 years old. I knew I needed to get a little bit stronger, get my skating a little bit better and stuff like that. So when I came over at 22, it was good time. It was first year salary cap came in, and the teams kind of took a little bit more younger players. They had to get under the cap, and it was the lockout year before that. So Dave Tippett came to Finland to watch me play a couple times. I got to know him personally as well. That helped me, and he really appreciates what kind of player I was and put me in the position I could succeed. But obviously after that, I've been in the waivers. I can't even remember how many times I've been in the waivers, so there was some big bumps on the road. So I think it was just that confidence to myself that I can be a hockey player, I'm going to get new chance, and there was enough general managers and coaches who were willing to give me that chance, and it's been wonderful to play in one organization, but I think I learned to appreciate too that I played in 9 different teams and got to know so many great people at hockey and so many great teammates and staff members. So that's been a great thing as well, living in so many different cities. So I appreciate that a lot too.
Moments I'll never forget on the ice, but I think what I'll always cherish was a dinner in New York City, you, me, and Yoni at Il Molino. And the best part was we sat there. I mean, both of you knew the rosters on every team in the league. Il Molino ain't too shabby either, the food. But it was it was a conversation. I think because I wanted to walk off the pasta, I walked back to the hotel. It was like a 50-minute walk. And I said, I am so fortunate to have a career in the game of hockey because of conversations with friends like that at Il Molino. That's what I'll always think about. And then
Didn't we graduate on the plane? I think we're coming back from Atlanta. The great Chuck Hayden. Didn't he somehow translate Joni Pitkänen and Jussi Jokinen from Finnish to English, and somehow he had your names as like John Long and Jack Rivers?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember it now when you said it. That's true.
Yeah. All right. Well, I love you. I'm so happy to see you. I am sorry about. I have no clue why you fell in love with the San Francisco 49ers. You're a big 40. I'm sorry about your 49ers this year.
It was just that year. I'm not that big of 49ers fan. It was just that year.
It was just that year.
Super
Okay.
Bowl. Okay.
I fact checked myself. Who's your NFL team now? Please tell me it's not my Detroit Lions.
Oh, I think it's been with me more with the players. Just like I love to watch good quarterbacks like Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. Obviously now Patrick Mahomes. Love to watch Jake Allen now. It's just kind of similar that hockey quarterback on the power play who has the puck, and you got to think so many things. So I think that's what I probably love to watch most, how these quarterbacks think and how they find the right place there.
Final question. If you could meet an athlete in any other sport, who would it be?
I'd probably have to go Tom Brady.
No kidding. Okay. Well, he has ties to Pure Michigan. We're going to have to see if we can make that happen. Jus, JJ, love you. It's great to see you. Make sure that car is on the tarmac, will you?
It'll be there.
Yeah.
Okay. It's great, TT. Thanks.
I'll get to Oulu. I'll dig in.
Boy, to tap into the mind of Jussi Jokinen is always a treat. So good to see him back here in the building. Canes 2-0 with the juice, and Aho flourishes at all times, but certainly when one of the guys that he looked up to most coming through youth hockey in Northern Finland is in the building watching. Wasn't it fitting that in Jussi's first game back that the Hurricanes, in a third period that they won the hockey game, scored goals in 36 seconds in homage to his jersey number. The great Jussi Jokinen, thanks for digging in. So wonderful to see you. The Juice, speaking of Jussi, thank you to our presenting sponsor, Voodoo Ranger, their new Juice First, fruit-tinged Top Gun spinoff. Voodoo Ranger, any IPA they produce is bold, it's smooth, it's powerful. Please enjoy it and enjoy it responsibly. Continue to check out our digintrip.com merchandise line, including the carpet hoodies. All proceeds go to the Oulu All-Stars at Jussi, Sebastian, Pecorine, just to name a few of those fine Finns, a charity that they continue to dig in with that changes kids' lives. Continue to rate and review our show on all audio platforms as well as YouTube. And until the next time, keep digging in.
We're digging in with Trip today, yeah. Today, yeah. Today, yeah. Today.